All right, welcome back to the 80s Star Basketball Channel, the only star basketball channel that Steve Taft watches. Ah, that made me so happy. I was stoked. He was like, "Yeah, I watched some episodes," and I was like, "Yes." I thought that was really really cool. Made my day. So here's me, Steve, and Dave meeting yesterday to try and get Steve set up on Zoom. And Steve is he's not one for technology. He definitely does not like it. And so this was the best that we're going to get is basically him on audio. And Steve's a little tough to get for interviews. Actually, I don't say a little, but definitely tough to get for kind of getting on board and wanting to talk on camera or much. But we're going to be doing this. That's why I'm really really stoked. For August 19th in Beckett. And that meeting obviously can't wait. I will be talking to that next Sunday. I'm going to be kind of discussing everything I'm going to be putting out it preemptively. So next week is actually going to be kind of a cool to kind of lay out my arguments and whatnot, because it's going to be very different than what I've presented so far. So, kind of looking forward to that. And also, just wanted really quickly, I did a couple of deals this week, but one that kind of left hanging that I would like to, if anyone has a Moncrief, a Sydney Moncrief, the Koch Sports, there's someone looking for it, and I'm not really willing to give mine up. And if I do, it's kind of a high price, definitely a high price compared to what they've been historically. But if you have one or have a bunch extra, I know he's looking for one, so would like to just try and help out and see if any of you have it, because as I'm going to be talking about pricing today, prices are definitely changing, and it's harder, and it's a lot harder now to price things with the demand so high, and for rare items especially. But picking things up, but just trying to help out, a fellow group member and a star person trying to pick up the rare ones. And I agree, the rare ones are awesome. So with that, the other thing I'm trying to do on this channel is bring some cool, trying to find some new stuff and bring information that most people or some people didn't know. Like I didn't know, because things that I get. So a guy named Dino from the group, a really knowledgeable star person, knows a lot of interesting, production stuff and just stuff from way back. But I loved when they mentioned things like this. He thought that Jordan actually, for this all rookie team. So the all rookie team, this is my uncut sheet. The all rookie team is on the same sheet as the last 11 subset. So these two are on the same sheet. And what's interesting is that they all say 85, except for the last one in each sheet says 86. So thought that was really, really interesting that the last 11 rookie, the Alvin Robertson and Keith Wilkes, both have an 86. And I'm wondering if there's any other variation. So if you actually have this subset in raw, if you can make sure that all of these other ones have 85 on them, and then Keith Wilkes has 86. And if there's maybe a variant that has 85, it'd be interesting to see if this is just an uncorrected error or an error. So, just kind of something that's, fairly interesting to check out. Okay, so let's get into a slightly controversial thing. It's pricing. And everyone kind of will have a different opinion to this. I'm going to give you my 2 cents. Everyone, I would say, I actually received 3 messages yesterday from people. One was on the crunch, and a couple others were like, pricing and just talking pricing. I then kind of went on the group. And what's funny is someone posted this, says, "Hey, did you see this? This at the National? It's insanely awesome. This display, or not the National? I'm sorry, the New Orleans show." And I said, "I think that's Tony Crossan's booth." I actually have a video earlier with me, Tony, and Dave, and one other person. We put all of our 101s together. I think it was 16 or 17 or something we had. I got to find that clip. Maybe I'll show that next week. But, where I was looking at all. And people were then kind of noticing the prices, and some were saying, "Oh, those prices are high." And it was weird because there was such a mixture of people defending the pricing, and then people saying that that's high. And then also, like I said, I got those messages, and it was for things looking at, hey, did you see the crunch sale? And last night there was or there was a 6,500, an 8.5 here that sold, and which made me skeptical. Anytime on eBay, and there's certain sellers and stuff, and I always go and look and make sure, and kind of looking at it. But the one thing I want to say is, as I'm looking at these sales and I'm looking at others, and like the last 11 and the all rookie team, I was kind of surprised that the crunch actually hadn't gone up much yet, and the Miller Lite. The crunch is supposed to be one of the, if not the rarest subset, regular size card, and it's just seeing demand all across the board on everything. And when you get a low supply, you start to have, the FOMO that's created and everything. It's really created this unique situation. Like I said in my last video, things are going up really fast. And I actually looked at these prices, and the first thing I kind of thought was, some of them you can look at in differentiating. I looked at the 101s, and I did not see high pricing. I thought, okay, those are about right. And if anything, a tick higher on some of them, but that's definitely not unreasonable pricing. And the reason I say that is because if you had these, what are you willing to give them up for? Unreasonable pricing is like, I see some of the sixes for 100,000 on eBay. That to me is very unreasonable. But even, for getting out of that ballpark, will it eventually get there? That I don't know. For a six at 100, I think it will, but it's going to take many years before that happens. But here, I'm like looking at these, going, you know what? In 2 months, he's gonna regret this. If he sold at these prices. And sure enough, he actually posted this thing saying, "Hey, I sold 5 of these," and he sold them to a guy. And the guys didn't even actually see this post. He sold them, and he'd been talking to him, and for a while, because I actually spoke to Tony this morning. I guess I should clarify this, and he actually posted this, so he gave me a little bit more info. But he said, this guy is looking at these going, no, these cards will reach this. So as a seller, do you want to give that up? And especially Tony really believes in these cards just like I do. And this is a special card. The 101, again, I will say it again for people that are new. This card to me is very different than any other card in the sports card hobby. And it is truly just, to me, for what Michael Jordan is and everything, it is the one. But it's a unique card. So where would you price this if you had them, if you were to give them up? So that's what it kind of becomes, this detachment, and people are looking at pricing. And I talked about this with Steve a little. Steve Taft is, he mentioned that the Mavericks bag going for that much. He was like, wow, that was always $1,000 bag, and now it's 4K plus. And I said, yes. And that's one of the things with older star folks. It's really hard to see pricing all of a sudden, going. It's harder because you know this thing, and you know the pricing of what things have been at. I've been watching them, daily for a year. And this is hard for me to now gauge. Like, you see this detachment, and you almost want to say, okay, this is too high. But then, you look at the fundamentals and you go, well, nope, this is what it's going to be. It's going to surpass this. So what would I give them up for? Like, I'm not giving up mine. And what would I price mine at? And it would be much higher than quote unquote comps. So, it's fair to say that I do not see these prices for giving things up as unreasonable. And I looked at this. So I was kind of in agreement. Do I get that, if one came up on eBay, you might be able to, like, he has and then talking about the other cards, like 288, here's a 6. If it were to come up on eBay, it probably wouldn't hit 7,000 on the next sale. However, in 2 months, will this hit 7,000? The way things are going right now, you don't know. So he's having to make this judgment call, and he's in no rush to give up these cards. So if you're going to give up your cards, get the price that you're going to feel comfortable, which all kind of brings it to this bigger point that I have that is, I find it funny. And this is kind of because I know of a few private sales and I've had these people talk to me. Tony is the fourth person that has told me privately selling it and then saying, I immediately regret it. Gosh, I know I'm going to regret it in 2 months. All four sales, all four people. So there is a PSA 7 I know sold for 40. Um, and Dave has sold some that he is regretting, but that was a little bit ago. And then there was another recent sale that I'm trying to remember right now, but it's Kevin. And every single one of those folks immediately after kind of like were, gosh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And all four are pursuing more. So it's if you're going to give it up, you want to give it up with a little bit of wiggle room to try and reattain it. But that regret is kind of showing that that might not be possible. So that's why you're seeing high prices. I get in a normal kind of situation. This isn't going by normal comps right now. This isn't like the normal market. This is a very special thing here in terms of pop and interest and kind of a whole host of factors. So, but at the end of the day, if you're not comfortable with something, hit pause. It's okay to hit pause. You don't have to buy if you're going, I don't understand this. That's one of Warren Buffett's really good rules is if he doesn't understand something, he steps back, but he tries to understand it. That's another thing is if he tries to understand it but can't, then he basically says, I'm not going to touch this. So ask yourself, do you understand the fundamentals and whatnot, and are you comfortable enough to say, okay, I don't own one. I do think they're going to be, I will overpay a little. And I was thinking to myself, in some of my biggest instances of cards purchases, every time I purchased something that turned out to be one of my best investments, I always overpaid at the time. Or had someone. I bought a 101 BGS 8 with two 9.5 and a 9 subs. And I think it was 7 years ago. I paid 5,000, and the first thing someone told me is, "Oh, you overpaid." And I was like, well, I'm comfortable. I'm happy. And now it's just a matter of time. No, I wish I would have held on to that. So, it comes down to comfortability. And if you're truly uncomfortable with everything happening, you don't have to buy, it's okay to hit the pause. But are these prices quote unquote justified? I think absolutely. And the fact that he sold 5 of them goes to show people will pay, especially in these, if they're within a range, you're going to get it. So, or you can get it. So I just wanted to kind of, I know that's a stream of consciousness, but it's kind of just my off the cuff reaction on Sunday morning. But I did want to talk pricing a little bit because, again, my phone kind of was, looking at all this pricing, like, what do you make of all this? And the prices are jumping and all these things are going high. And it's kind of like, everything is just hot. When you have a low pop, FOMO is stronger than you realize. I would pay personally for a BGS 8. I want to look at this 840K. Maybe I would look at that pretty hard because I wouldn't be deterred if I wanted a Michael Jordan rookie card. I'm not out for flipping. If you're just flipping and doing whatever, then, kind of all bets are off in terms of your comfortability. But, as far as being a collector and wanting something, I think prices are going to go. So, why not ask for a little more? I know that sucks. I personally want prices to drop a little so, I can selfishly get more. But, you know what? The world ain't fair. So, there's a lot of other things that I want cheap that I'm not going to get. So, really, it just comes down to, how comfortable you are. So, as far as prices, it's going to be what people are willing to pay. And so, with that, we will look at auctions on Wednesday. I do want to talk. I'll talk a little bit to these autographs. These are puzzling to say the least, but obviously impressive. At the same time, and definitely want to talk to a few other auctions that have happened and some of the action that's happening, and trying to make sense of how fast things are going to go and whatnot. So hope my diatribe here made sense, and my stream of consciousness. But would love to hear your thoughts, and like, comment, subscribe, write those comments. Would love to. I read every single one of them, so I will and respond to them. But other than that, I'll see you at the next video.